We need to talk about the censorship that has been ongoing all throughout today, which is January 8th of 2021. Goodness, man, there's so much to say on this. I'm going to try to keep it short because I don't want to repeat things that other people have been saying. Yes, censorship bad, violation of, English common law, violation of free speech principles, blah, 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 blah. What people need to understand is this. They were inevitably going to do this. They've signaled to everybody that the tech corporations were going to censor the president, and they were going to censor his allies, and they were going to censor his supporters, especially the most vocal ones, me being one of them. And I've already been censored. I've already been targeted. People have already tried to mess with me, and it's only going to get worse. But I am not as upset and as animated and as emotional as other people because I prepared for this. And it is something that I've warned everybody about. My audience for sure, and I've contacted some other content creators, some other influencers, and I told them, you guys need to get your content and start moving it on to the alternative tech platforms, and people like Brendan Herrera. They're saying, oh, well, this is a waste of time. This is a fool's errand. Well, not that, but he's just saying it's a waste of time. And, I argue it's like, well, at one point it was a waste of time to do anything on YouTube. People weren't always monetized, and they didn't have all these awesome features, and now they do. And alternative tech is young. It's been building up for the last few years, and it's at a point where it's like we can live on those platforms, and there are ways to monetize the content through Subscribe Star, and then Dave Rubin's Locals, etc., etc. I mean, there's ways to do it. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be challenges, but I think it is worth it at this point, given the disgusting censorship that is on display for the whole world to see. As I'm making this, the president of the United States, if I haven't already said this already, he's been censored. He's permanently banned. He's gone. It's done. It's over. And people keep, saying like, oh, well, it's not over till it's over. Get the lawyers, get this, get that. Okay, yeah, maybe. But I think all of that is a waste of time when there are better alternatives. Gab TV or Gab or Gab.com, Gab.ai, whatever it's called now. I mean, I'm on there. I just don't post frequently. I'm going to start posting frequently, at least putting my videos up there or links to it. But, it's like that has more features and it lacks the censorship than Twitter. It's got its own encryption chat service. It's got its own browser. It's got the Dissenter app so you can leave hilarious comments on any page on the internet. They tried to stop that and they failed. We're fine, guys. There's places to go. I mean, we're taking a hit. We're going to have to take the hit. There's no way around it. It's their website. There's very little remedies for us. There's very little legal recourse with us. Yeah, I get it. I'm against it. It's disgusting. It's abhorrent. But there are options, and we need to take ownership of the situation and just come to the realization that it's done. It's over. Speaking of it being over, the election is over. Trump conceded, willingly conceded. And Mike Lindell, I love the guy, great guy. He's got a good heart. But him and people like Lynn Wood and so many others have fallen for the schemes of the QAnon bullshit. Fuck QAnon. It is all lies. These people don't understand anything about elections, about voting, anything. Ballots, nothing. They got it all wrong. InfoWars was deliberately posting false information from individuals claiming that the ballots had these radioactive isotopes and hammer and scorecard and all this other bullshit. And none of it was true. None of it was real. They don't understand how the ballots are even printed to begin with. It's like, oh, this is a RICO case. This is a setup. It's a trap. They're going to get everybody and they're going to put Hillary in jail, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they're talking about going after the vice president and putting him in handcuffs and all this other bullshit. And people fell for it. And now they're acting like fucking idiots when none of the bullshit that was, pushed on them came true. Because it's childish and stupid, and you're acting like the modern left. You're acting like the liberals, the progressives, the communists, the Antifa, BLM losers, who were promoting this fake ethos that Trump is going to round everybody up, put everybody in camps. That sounds crazy, right? Because it is. They were saying Trump killed Melania, and that there's a stunt double, and that he beats his wife, and he does all this crazy. Dude, the left is insane. We cannot afford to become what they are. Even now, as I'm making this video, they are losing their shit. They're losing their minds over the election, despite winning, despite Trump conceding. And it's not even them, but even Nancy Pelosi is coming out and fear-mongering about the president of the United States, saying that he's got access to the nuclear codes, and she's putting out all this crap out to the press that's like, oh, well, they have contingency plans to prevent him from launching nukes. They're scaring the American people. They're and then they want to impeach him as well. They're saying that they're ready to impeach the president any minute now. I could be done editing this video and they're gonna, there's gonna be breaking news. Nancy Pelosi in the House, they're on their way to impeaching the president again for a second time. It's bait, guys. This is bait. I see it for what it is. It's bullshit. And this is exactly what happened with the Capitol Hill incident on January 6th. I have to remind you, it's the 8th as I'm making this video. That was hardcore bait. It was a largely uneventful exchange, uneventful riot, if that's, whatever you want to call it, until people started getting killed. Needlessly killed. They didn't have to die, but they did, because people decided to go into the Capitol, and and there's so many stories about it. They're saying that they were let in, which there seems to be video of that. They were saying that they stormed it, which there appears to be video of that. There was Antifa and BLM there, which may be true. Doesn't matter. It shouldn't have happened. It wasn't helpful, and they're using that event as an excuse to come after Trump supporters. They're going to put people in prison. They're going to pass laws. They're going to start compiling lists of people who they consider political dissidents. And the bar for being a political dissident will be low. Maybe it's, if you voted for Trump, we're going to put you on this list. If you support the president vocally on social media, we're going to document everything that you say. We're going to watch what you do. We're going to check up on you. So on and so forth. This is the path that we're going down. All the more reason to cease using their platforms, because they are going to use them to come after us and to target us and to do harm to us. We don't need them, though, because there's alternatives. There's really great alternatives. Minds is excellent. Gab is excellent. LBRY and Odysee are excellent. Bitchute is excellent. Again, they're not the prettiest sites. Well, Bitchute's probably the ugliest out of all of them. No, I think Rumble's the ugliest, and then it's Bitchute. But then the other ones look great. They're fantastic. It's totally usable. Totally usable. And it's like, I don't understand why we're so upset. It's like, yeah, being censored sucks. Being targeted sucks. Being lied about sucks. But there's alternatives. I mean, do you really want to hang around and be miserable the way these modern leftists have been, living on the internet, spreading lies about the president and people who supported them while they were, being dorks on Twitter and stuff? I was out working, making money. I was going out with friends. I was living my life. I was dating chicks. My life was good. I wasn't sitting on the computer worried that the evil drumflers are going to come for me. That I'm not sitting around worried that there's roving bands of Nazis targeting people who look different than they do. None of that is real. They're living in fantasy land, and their fantasies have impaired them from critical thought and reasoning. They do not see the blatant censorship, hypocrisy, and the lies that have been advertised to them, which is why they are not happy right now, even as Trump has conceded, even though the election is over. These people are miserable losers. And I don't want to become like the modern left. I don't want to become like progressives or the liberals or whatever you want to call them. I don't want to be like Vosh, that disgusting creep, or that other loser, Hunter Avalon. These people suck. Kyle Kalinske, he gets his fashion cues from Cenk Uygur, who, by the way, has denied the Armenian genocide how many times? That dude, one of the biggest losers in politics, Cenk Uygur, boasts about all the billions of people, millions of views. He's got millions of fans. You got 5th place, dude. You know what? And he wants to call Trump a loser. This is what they had to do to defeat Trump. They had to continuously spread lies about him and his fans in the press for 5 years. They made movies depicting Trump in the worst light possible. Blockbuster hits. The pedophiles in Hollywood, they all got information. They all produced propaganda and portrayed Trump supporters, Trump voters, conservatives, Christians, and of course the president in the most negative light possible. They had to recruit people from outside the country to lend credence to the case that Trump is unfit to be the president. Did any of that work? No. And then, of course, they had to recruit their allies and at the Postal Service, the unions, the ones that over, because a lot of these government workers are unions, they had to recruit it, get everybody information to ensure that they had an electoral victory that was totally legitimate and above board, according to the legacy media, which has a track record of being dishonest. That's what they had to do to defeat Trump. They nuked him from orbit, and it barely fucking worked. The gloves are off, and the weapons are out, and they're beating us to death. They're going to come after every single one of us. But to that I say, do not despair. Do not be discouraged. Be reasonable, okay? Be hopeful, because there is a lot to be hopeful about. Despite the challenges that are, right in front of us in the very near future. I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of being as erratic and emotional and as stupid as they were the last 4 to 5 years. I mean, this is how insane they are. They thought the president was a Russian spy who was compromised by Vladimir Putin, the leader of Russia, and that he was subverting democracy and using it against itself. They genuinely believe that he beat Melania, and then that he had to bring out Melania stunt doubles. And then, of course, there was, he went to a hotel room where Obama stayed at and he peed everywhere, and then the hookers peed on him. And, this is the kind of shit that we had to endure. These people genuinely believed that there were a roving band of literal Nazis. By the way, World War II ended 1 million fucking years ago. You fucking losers. Worrying about Nazis is like being worried about the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot. It doesn't fucking exist. It's not real. It's a boogeyman. And they use this fake narrative to scare the left into compliance, get everybody information, and to call people Nazis. And of course, people who were falsely accused of this were largely just disagreeing with them or having a difference of opinion, or they weren't allies enough. They weren't good allies. So they didn't just call people, fake shit so they can score some cheap political points. They would do it for political gain. It's horse shit. Absolute horse shit. It almost worked, but not really. I mean, look at what happened on January 6th. Look at all those people that turned out that don't accept the results of our previous elections. It's 2 of them. Both bullshit. But, I mean, I can believe that Loeffler and Perdue lost legitimately because they're fucking losers and they're cowards and they refuse to defend the president of the United States or stand up for conservatives and Christians and Trump supporters. They deserve to lose. They absolutely deserve to lose. There were so many things that could have been done to prevent the disaster that has been ongoing since January 6th. They did it because Americans, more of us than them, want this nation to be free and sovereign. They believe in the principles of free speech. They believe English common law is a good thing and should not be dispensed with, which the modern left has been very vocal about getting rid of, doing away with. We think borders are good. Borders should be maintained and defended at all costs. We don't want Americans to compete with illegal labor. We don't, these mega corporations that have been producing and creating a lot of the propaganda that a lot of these Antifa and BLM losers are repeating. They want to depress our wages. They want us to compete with illegal labor. They want to keep importing people into the country to devalue our wages, to depress wages. Plain and simple. Economics 101. You want to reduce the price of a product? Let's say a TV. At one point, there weren't that many companies making flat screen TVs, but now there's 1 million of them. And it's quite affordable to get a nice, beautiful HD 8K TV, or 4K, sorry. Now imagine you're the product. You're the one offering a service, which in turn you'll get a wage for. Well, if there's like 1 million of you, you're not going to be worth that much. Plain and simple. People want to increase wages. You're not going to be able to do it if you have open borders. Even Bernie Sanders espoused that open borders is a Koch brothers conspiracy and it will completely destroy the working class. And that is the path that we are on. But my goodness, it is not over. Far from it. There is a lot that we can do. We need to start populating these other websites. The alt-tech websites, and they're all linked in the description. Bitchute and Rumble are the ugliest, but totally functional, excellent websites that they're not going to censor us or mess with us. So long as, we're not breaking laws. I would never advocate for such a thing. Another thing that we can do is completely divorce ourselves from the QAnon bullshit. I've never been a part of it. I've never espoused or repeated any of the propaganda from QAnon. I think it is bullshit. I think it is dangerous. I think it's made people insane. I genuinely believe that. And it certainly tricked people and made them, complacent. It kept people at home. Trust the plan. Fuck you. These nerds on the internet don't have a plan. I'm with Robert Barnes. This is probably a psyop. QAnon was used to trick Americans into thinking that, Trump had this master plan and all these things were happening in the background that were invisible to us, but it's going to, come to fruition and it will be on full display for everyone to see. And we're going to be, riding off into the sunset and, all will be good and right with the world. No, none of that happened. Pence betrayed Trump. William Barr betrayed Trump. All the institutions, his own Supreme Court justices that he ended up nominating and defending himself tooth and nail, they betrayed Trump. There's no... The QAnon thing was bullshit. From beginning to end, all of it. Sometimes they would talk about things that are truthful, and then they'll add layers of absurdity. So when you start looking into the stuff that's true, you're like, okay, they're onto something. And then they start going into crazy territory. It can almost sound reasonable to somebody who's not initiated or does, sound political analysis like I do. But my goodness, enough people were tricked by it. And they're espousing things that aren't true. Like I've worked for major election departments. I know how elections work. From every level, and they're talking about radioactive isotopes in the fucking the ballots, and it's a RICO case and all this bullshit. Like, they don't know what they're talking about, and enough people were espousing crazy, cringy bullshit, and it did more harm than good. People need to get grounded in reality because they want you to engage in the absurd. It makes it easy to attack Trump supporters, which is why that Capitol Hill shit is so damaging. And why I'm against what occurred on January 6th. Because I know that they were going to use it against us. I know that they were going to lie about the events that transpired. They were going to pretend like they've never seen rioting or unruly behavior by a large group of people before. Never mind that they completely omitted to report on all of the violent riots, the murders, the rapes, the animal tortures, etc. that occurred in 2020 by violent Black Lives Matter activist thugs and Antifa. But, now they can dispense with our rights. Now they can continue to lie about us, and they have video to prove it. Even if it's misleading, even if it's misdirection, they still got video of people going into the Capitol doing all sorts of crazy things. People died. Trump supporters lost their lives, and those hypocrites are celebrating because of it. May Ashley Babbitt and everybody who died rest in peace. But... it was unnecessary what transpired, and these people were misled. They never should have done what they did. It wasn't helpful. They used that Capitol Hill event as an excuse to avoid, or they use it as an excuse to not listen to the evidence that people like Robert Barnes spent a long time trying to compile, along with a handful of other people. They use that as an excuse to speed up the process of the electoral contest. The what's it called? The election contest. The objections. I apologize. I'm losing my mind here. They use that as an excuse to speed up the objections. This is exactly what they did. They gave up. They're like, fuck it. They gave up. Absolutely disgusting. And people are like, I think I just saw a video. I think from Mike Lindell, but I love the guy, respect the guy. I really do. But him and people like Lynn Wood, et cetera, they've fallen into that Q trap. And now and he's saying that Trump is going to win. And there's other fucking Twitter posters saying like, oh, it's not over yet. I just got word from a source and blah, blah, blah. These are grifters. Mike Lindell isn't, but there's some of these people are grifters. They're lying to you. They're selling you false hope. They don't know what they're talking about. Trump conceded. It's done. We need to focus on defending each other, standing up for each other. We need to simultaneously protect free speech by moving off the platforms, not just as content creators, but as users. And also moving on with our lives and not being like the modern left. I don't want to be like them. While I live my life, go out, date, start a family, that sort of things, which I encourage people to do. Strong families make strong communities. Don't end up like Vosh. Don't end up like Kyle Kalinske or fucking Hassan Piker or the disgusting Cenk Uygur. These people suck. They're fucking losers. You want to be like that? No. It's not just it's just tiring, man. It's just tiring. I'm so over all this shit. And I'm just so over good people being tricked by these fucking grifters. By the media, getting outplayed by the media. The media, when they say they don't want you to do something, it's probably a good idea to do it. What do they not want you to do? They don't want you to speak freely. They don't want you to be skeptical of the results of the election. They don't want you to challenge authority with your speech and with the other rights that are afforded to you by the Constitution of the United States. And then when they lie about you, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy they want to invoke. They want to bring about. When they say that Trump supporters are violent, murderous thugs, none of which is true. But they've been saying for a long time, they're going to rise up and they're going to do all these terrible things. And of course, none of that has ever come close to happening. But they're going to be running wild with that narrative because of the events of January 6th that involved the Capitol. We can't be falling for these tricks, guys. We can't be falling for this bullshit anymore. It's time to grow up. It's time to move on. I'll always love the President of the United States. I'll always support President Trump. If he runs in 2024, he has my resounding support. And I will never, ever be dishonest about the things that have transpired in the last 4 years regarding the presidency of the United States. And I encourage everybody else to be brave and to exercise their free speech while they still can. Do not cuck to the modern left or pop culture or these mega corporations. None of it. We need to stand up to them. That is infinitely more productive than engaging in and chasing down all these stupid conspiracy theories, none of which are true, most of which are not true or helpful. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Start a family. It's not over. It really isn't. But the things that I've been witnessing are not helpful at all. And I know for a fact the president is a lot more optimistic than I am. He's more hopeful about the future than I am. He is a fighter, and he is going to continue to fight. And there are people out here in Vegas that are going to be doing some very interesting things. And we took a hit, but we're going to get back up, and that's what's going to differentiate us from the modern left. Because while they were fucking wet in the bed the last 5 years, we were working, making money, living our lives. We were just joking around and memeing on the institutions that have been failing us, and not just us on the right, but even people on the left. They're just failing everybody. And they're afraid of that. They're afraid of our jokes. They're afraid of our speech. They're afraid of our alternative tech. They're afraid of you. They fucking hate you. Do not despair. It's going to be okay. I know it in my heart that is true. And I'm going to continue to make gun videos. I'm going to make tool videos. Maybe some tech videos here and there. I'm going to be streaming every Monday and Tuesday. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. They'll have to kill me. Peace out.